Good evening, you. Hi, Meghna. Like, is it on the full screen mode or you're seeing the PPT format? If you could just confirm it in the chat box. Not the full slide, not the, you're seeing the PPT, right? And do you see the change of the PPT? And it's on the full screen? On the full screen mode or you're seeing the PPT format? If you could just confirm it in the chat box. It's seeing the PPT, 1 second. Not the full slide, not the, you're seeing the PPT, right? And do you see the change of the PPT? And so the full screen, the full screen mode or you see the PPT format? You could just confirm it in the chat box. Yes, I'll share it again. Give me a second. Yes, how about it now? Can you see it now? Full screen. Perfect. 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 All right. So let's start. Did you guys solve the 2021 paper? Did you have a look at it? Okay. Okay. So the entire verbal section. What about others? Only Hitansh is responding. Riddhi, what about you? Yatharth? Medha? See, it is always a good idea to, with exam approaching us, it is always a good idea to look at the previous year questions. So when we look at 2021, and did you all attend the last session also verbal with me? Or some of you were not there? All of you were there. Correct. Medha wasn't there. All right. Perfect. So if we look at this year's paper, again, we see 30 questions, right? So we'll be looking at 30 questions. And if we talk about the types of questions that we have, so in the previous 2020 paper also there was one RC, and here also we'll take a look at one RC again. After the RC, PPT is not in the slideshow mode. At my end, it is on the slideshow mode. Just 1 second. Why is this problem popping up? 1 second. Is it on the slideshow mode now? Not on the slideshow mode. You don't see the full screen of it. Wait. This problem popped up last time also. Is it fine now? Perfect. All right. So I hope you guys have also been attending the quant section of these entire workshops that we have. So if we talk about the upcoming workshops, then you have next workshop on 8th of June, that is QA short answer questions. And then another one is on 9th June, and then is on 10th June. So tomorrow you don't have one, but 8th, 9th, and 10th, 3 consecutive days, you will get to see. And the next two are quant, and the last one is going to be your verbal again. So I hope to see you guys again on 10th. Okay, now coming to moving forward to your questions. So as I was talking about the paper pattern, so in 2021, we had about 30 questions, and not about, but actually 30 questions. And of course, with followed by one RC, followed by some fill in the blank questions. You will also see idioms and phrases here. Then we do have theta based parajumble questions and the word usage questions. Verbal section, so far we have not seen Jayaditya, but of course, we need to be prepared for it, right? And when it comes to the verbal sections, if it is a verbal ability section, then the chances are bleak of giving a verbal reasoning question, because that CR questions fall in the category of verbal reasoning. So in logical reasoning section, because IPM doesn't have that, it has content verbal. So the chances are bleak, even in the syllabus, they have not mentioned so. Right. Let's go to the questions now. So let's look at the first passage. Right. I'll give you 2 minutes to give a read. Yes, Siddharth, so far they have not informed otherwise. So we need to assume that yes, they are going to be in theta format. Shall we start reading? All your doubts and your questions regarding the paper pattern and everything will be taken in towards the end of the class, right? Okay, guys, let's give a quick read to the passage. So I'll read it out for you guys, and then I'll also give you some time to read it on your own. So from ancient Rome up to the Victorian era, training in logic and rhetoric was meant to help privileged young men recognize spurious arguments and facts. Times have changed, but contemporary Italy is determined that its youth are prepared, and as their ancient counterparts were, to engage meaningfully with the present day version of the forum social media. At the end of October, 8,000 Italian schools will teach their students how to spot fake news through a program developed with the help of journalists as well as tech giants Google and Facebook. In Israel, the University of Haifa is launching a course titled Fake News. The purpose of these courses is to ensure that the public debate, particularly during election campaigns, is not hijacked by vested interest. Since the US presidential election in 2016, the specter of Russia and its use of online propaganda has loomed large over public discourse in the West. In other parts of the world, too, doctored images and blatant lies have been published by news websites. Given the speed with which information is shared online, damage is already done by the time a fake story is exposed. The voters of tomorrow certainly need to be armed with the ability to sift bare facts from motivated fiction. The effect of social media on the formation of opinion, however, go far beyond fake news. Traditionally, or legacy media is ordered by a need for balance. A newspaper, for example, has sections that deal with politics, crime, sports, the arts, etc. There's at least in principle an attempt to tell both sides of the story in each report. On social media, the only editor is the user herself. Algorithms ensure that people see more of what they like, that biases are reinforced rather than countered. Fake news is certainly a crucial aspect of online. Sorry, 1 second. Fake news is certainly a crucial aspect of online propaganda, but for young citizens to form opinions based on multiple viewpoints, they need to consciously seek out more than they are comfortable with. Let's go to the questions now. So I'll give you 1 minute. Why don't you read it yourself also once, and then we'll go. Once you're done, drop a message in the chat box. Just type red in the chat box and I'll take you to the questions. Hitansh, done reading. Arjun, read. Siddharth, Shreya. Done. Okay. Let's take a look. Okay, now before we go to the questions here, I always want you guys to be very actively involved with the passage. So when you're reading, start thinking about, because we know the basic questions that are there in RC, right? So whenever you come across a reading comprehension, instead of waiting till the question appears and the option appears, start thinking on your own during the reading also. So for example, I know that, the primary purpose question is more or less every time it is there, correct? Similarly, there can be questions based on vocabulary or something like that. So try to figure out the primary purpose. Now, how do I identify a primary purpose question? So how do I identify the answer to it, right? So if I tell you that give me 5 words which you think are extremely important, which will come or which will, sound like the essence of this passage. So what are the 5 words that we are talking about here? Just 5 words according to you.
Fake news,
Fake news is one. Okay. What else?
platform of social media,
Social media should be there, right? What else? So what are we see? If I say fake news is the topic, or let's say social media is the topic, correct? Now there must be an aspect to it. See, these are what about 300 to 400 words. I cannot, put everything in those 300 words. So basically, if let's say that the topic is social media or topic is fake news, then there's some aspect that they are discussing. So what is that aspect? For example, let's say that, if there's a passage based on Earth. So the passage can be about the geographical features of Earth. It can be about the problems of Earth. It can be about, the solutions that have to be there to, resolve the issues on Earth. It can be about its distance from other planets or from sun, correct? So there has to be one aspect. So we know they are talking about social media. We know that they're talking about fake news. But what is the aspect that they are discussing? Any guesses? What is the aspect that they are trying to discuss? You can unmute or type it in the chat box, whichever way is convenient. Okay. I'll ask you yes and no questions and you answer those questions accordingly. So is the passage talking about how, people were fooled by the fake news in the past? Yes or no? Is the passage mainly about how the people were fooled in the past? Yes or no? Is it talking about how people were, fooled by fake news in the past, or is it about training the people to identify the, correct information from the fake news or the wrong information? Correct, Siddharth. So it is actually about training the people to identify or look through the argument, whether the argument is genuine, it's true, or it's not. Correct. Now, what we are doing right now, when you're actually solving the passage, I want you guys to do it while you're reading it. Or, once you've read, just think about it for a couple of minutes and then go to the passage. So let's take a look at question number 1. So the question asks you, 1 second. The writer of the passage suggests that option A, the purpose of education in early times was very different from what it is now. Option B, there are similarities in the aims of education in early times and those of today. Option C, the purpose of education in early times was to help students attain a position of privilege. Option D, as times have changed, the basis of education has expanded. Can we eliminate certain options? See, if we look at the similarity in options, so it is talking about purpose of education instead of purpose. Option B says aims of education. Option C says purpose of education. And D saying basis of education. So all of these, purpose of education, aim of education, purpose of education is same. But what is the difference? So option A is saying the purpose of education in times was very different. It is saying that there are similarities in early times was to help students attain a position of privilege. Did we anywhere get the hint of this word privilege? What do you think?
Not mentioned in the passage.
So it is not hinting that, in earlier times, students were taught so that they can attain a position of privilege. So this is a clear-cut elimination. As times have changed, the basis of education has expanded. Were they talking about the expansion? What do you think should be the correct answer here? You has answered. I would request everyone to go on the direct message mode so that you do not hurt the other person's answer or thought process. Your answer is correct. Now, if we go back and take a look, so times have changed, but contemporary Italy, contemporary means the present day Italy, is determined that its youth are prepared, as their ancient counterparts were, to engage meaningfully with the present day version of the forum social media. So the times have changed, but the present times Italy youth is prepared like their ancient counterparts were to engage meaningfully with the present day version of the forum called social media. So that means that earlier, and what have they written about the earlier forum? From ancient Rome up to the Victorian era, the training in logic and rhetoric was meant to help privileged young men recognize the spurious arguments and facts. So in earlier times also, they've used the word privilege. See how smartly they twisted it in the option. So the word privilege is present. Now, if you mark the answer based on your memory, what will happen? You might end up marking answer as option D or C, whichever mentioned privilege, right? But here what they're saying is that the young people were taught to recognize the spurious arguments from facts, and even the contemporary Italy is prepared to do that. So correct answer to this question as per the reading will be option B. Any doubts, anyone? Correct answer is option B. Next question. The passage points out that an important difference between traditional media and social media is that. Now, see, I call them location-based questions. Question number 2 is the important difference between traditional media and social media. So I first need to find out where this word traditional media is present, right? Look for it in the passage. Where are they talking about traditional media? Which paragraph has this word? Siddharth says it's in the last paragraph. Absolutely correct. So if I read the last paragraph now, what does the last paragraph say? Traditional media or legacy media is ordered by a need, is ordered by a need for balance. As a newspaper, for example, has sections that deal with politics, crime, sports, and arts, there's at least in principle an attempt to tell both sides of the story. On social media, the only editor is the user herself. Algorithm ensure that the people see of more what they like. So what is it hinting? What is the difference? Now let's go to the question and see what should be the correct answer here. Yes, can you attempt this question now? Siddharth correct, Jayaditya correct, Rutvik correct, others? So for this question, I don't need to read the entire passage. I first need to look for the keywords that are present in the question. So I saw that traditional media and social media, where are these words located in the passage? I will read that area very carefully and then I'll come to the question. So correct answer to this question is option B as per what we read. So traditional media tries to present different point of view. So they wrote that in principle, at least they try to tell you the both sides of the story. While on social media, the user herself sets the algorithm and they show you what you want to see and what they want to show you. That's somewhat biased. Question number 3. Social media is dangerous in its ability to influence opinion in readers through. Now, what are the keywords here? Social media is dangerous in its ability to influence your opinion. Let's go to the passage and see. Now, one very important thing here is before we go on to look for the answer, see, in the question, they use the word social media is dangerous in their approach or whatever. So you might not get the word dangerous in the passage, you might get a synonym of it. So don't be very, hell-bent on finding where is the word dangerous. You might never see it and you will waste your time. So have that idea that, okay, instead of dangerous, they can write that's risky, or, it jeopardizes, or something which is very similar to dangerous. Now, can you find out social media and dangerous or any synonym of it? Can you identify that area? And they talked about the opinion also. So second para, last line. Yes, that's true. So they have not written the word dangerous. What they have written is the effects of social media on formation of opinion, however, go far beyond fake news. So if it goes far beyond fake news, that means that it is dangerous. So instead of writing the word dangerous, they are writing it like this. So now I have identified the location. I need to read somewhat of this paragraph to answer my question. So give it a read and then we'll go. So now I need to know two things about it from the para 2 and para 3, that the speed is very fast, of spreading the information. Plus they show you one-sided information. So based on what we have read, what do you think should be the answer to question number 3? So 3 correct. Jayadit, think about it again. No, Siddharth, think about it one more time. What is the other possible option that you might consider? So the class are divided between option A and option D. Now, if you look at option D, it says creation of interest by using dubious facts. So the problem is not just that, they always do that. The problem is their choice of news items. So that is, they always pick such items which, are already controversial, and then they go about it. Because in the last paragraph also they have written that, what are they doing? They are showing you what you want to see. So don't forget about that as well. Correct?
Ma'am,
Yes.
but it is written that means dubious means uncertain, right? So
Correct.
it would be related to fake news.
Right. But then they have written, no, that's not just the fake news, it goes beyond that. So because they're saying, how do they influence you? So how will they influence you? Number one, they will show you what you want to see, right? And the speed thing combined,
Yes, ma'am, understood.
right? Because this one, the blatant lies have been published by the news website. So they are literally not talking about social media here. So then I need to take the reference from the, next paragraph also. Okay, question number 4. Vested interest in para 2 means, let's go to the passage again. Yes, vested interest in para 2. Can you locate it? Where is vested interest? Second line, that's right. So let's read this one now. The purpose of these courses is to ensure that the public debate, particularly during election campaigns, is not hijacked by the vested interest, right? See, if I don't get the idea from vested here, I can read a bit more to understand. Since the US presidential election in 2016, the specter of Russia and its use of online propaganda has loomed large over public discourse in the West. So if you're not able to, come down or boil down to the right answer, read a bit more because they have used this one as an example. So through that example, I can understand the meaning of vested interest. Let's go to the question. Yes, what do you think is the answer? Hidden purpose, popular interest, self-serving intentions, or profitable motives. Siddharth, correct? Moja Aditya, think about it again. See, what they are saying is 2016, Russia, did the online propaganda. And since then, they have been trying the purpose of the courses to make sure that the vested interests are not, used. So correct answer will be self-serving. Vested always means that even I have some interest in that area. For example, when a judge is judging a case, right, or judge is, there, so he or she should not have a vested interest in the case. So vested interest means that there should not be something that will help me, right, in some way or the other. So it shouldn't be self-serving. Next question. The antonym of spurious is very easy. I don't think you guys need to go to the passage also. And sorry, there's a bit of a typo. This is inferior and this is incisive. The spurious argument. Siddharth correct. Hitansh correct. Jayaditya correct. Krishna correct. Yug correct. People were taught to identify the spurious argument. So you are being taught to identify the spurious argument. That means that the antonym of spurious should be. Correct answer to this question is. Yes, everyone, please try it quickly. Devansh, Arjun, girls, Shreya, Anamika. Correct answer to this question should be Ali, correct. Option D. Opposite of spurious is genuine. Okay. And the last question of the passage. The writer of the passage calls social media the present day version of Roman Forum because it is a space for, I think you should be able to answer it. No, no. Again, I have some keywords. Can you tell me where did these keywords appear? Para 1, 2, or 3? So the keywords are social media being called the present day version of Roman Forum. कहाँ पे थे keywords? No. It was in para 1. Read it quickly. Question is asking us why is social media being called the present day version of forum? Read it. Para 1. From ancient Rome up to the Victorian era, training of logic and rhetoric was meant to help privileged young men recognize spurious arguments and facts. Times have changed, but contemporary Italy is determined that its youth are prepared, as their ancient counterparts were, to engage meaningfully with the present-day version of the forum called social media. So, they have courses to prepare me to identify the spurious arguments at social media. And in earlier times, people were taught to do that in those times also. So that means what is happening? Question number 6. So why are they comparing social media to a particular forum in the past? Krishna, your answer is correct now. Waiting for the Siddharth correct. Be correct. It's very clear. So if the present day at least training me to identify the spurious arguments, and it is saying social media is like a Roman forum, so that means that the similarity between the two was that they used to spread spurious arguments, and therefore the training is required, like it was required in the past also. Any doubts, anyone so far? Is everything clear to everyone? Nirmit, Medha, Manas, Guys, please be extremely active on chat. Next question. The impatient and intolerant mother made every effort to. So fill in the blank question. Krishna, correct? Shreya, look for the spelling. Siddharth, check for this. This is the as it is paper. So no changes, no alteration have been made. I want everyone to answer. So there's no alteration to it, right? And plus what we want after every effort to see here with option C, the problem is the spelling of dominate. It is denominate. We are not looking for denominator here, right? Effort to dominion her children makes no sense again. So the correct answer to this question is option B. Now, again, here, domineer her children. Now, there was, of course, a typo here. It should have been live, but this is the actual paper. So, what we want here after two is a verb form and the correct verb. So, denominate is also a verb. But what we want is every effort to dominate. Therefore, we are going with B. But this is the actual paper, so I have not, made any changes. But this should be child's life and not lives. Either it should be dominate the children's life or child's life. So super easy one. Next. To avoid the ecological issues, scientists and government agencies consider how sustainable development. Hitansh correct. Jayaditya correct. Rutvi correct. Krishna correct. Shreya correct. Super easy question. You correct. Nirmit right. Siddharth perfect. Waiting for others. Medha, what is your answer? Anamika correct. Ali, what do you think? Arjun. Arjun is online but hasn't responded even to one question. Not a good practice, Arjun. So the correct answer, no, Ali. See, again, they are to avoid the ecological issue. Scientists and government agency consider how the sustainable development. Here, what I want is a verb. Correct answer will be option B. How it affects the citizen, not affects the citizen. In the previous class also, I guess we discussed the difference between effect and affect. If not, let's discuss it right now. So when we talk about effect, effect is a noun form and affect is a verb form. So they are considering that how sustainable development will affect me, right? How eating fruits will affect me or affect me. So effects of eating fruit. Let's say that in this article we'll talk about effects of eating fruit. Let's understand it this way. So there's an article which talks about effects of eating fruit. Is there any subject, any person who is eating the fruits? When I say that in this article we discuss how eating affect, how what are the effects of eating fruit, but there's no person who is eating. But if let's say I am that person who's eating the fruit, then how will I say that I want 1 second, let me finish the sentence. Eating fruits affects my health. Or eating fruits at night affect my health. Now, who is the person who is eating? I am the one who is eating. So here, therefore, I need to use the verb form affect. So here they are saying, scientists and government agencies consider how sustainable development will affect the citizens, because we have a verb here. I mean, citizen is the subject here, therefore we need the verb version of it. Are we clear with this? And affectionate makes no sense here. Not the appropriate word to be used. Next question. So we have an idiom-based question. We need to use a correct idiom or a phrase in the given sentence. Jayaditi correct, Hitansh correct. Super easy question here. That's right. Prithvi correct. Krishna again, one more time, not the correct answer. I now have more productive time during the day because I keep the office gossip at. Now, last time also I mentioned that, take out those small pockets. We still have time. So see, when you can, figure out to learn this, you don't need a book to practice idioms and questions. You have your phone, you have the internet access, just type idiom-based quizzes. Just take those quizzes because it is somewhat knowledge-based. If you don't know it, you will never get the answer. So the correct idiom here is not a foot away. The correct idiom is at arm's length. Option B. So when you keep something at arm's length, that means you maintain distance from it. So I get more time because I don't, spend my time in office gossip. I keep it at distance. So I don't get indulged into it. Let's do a bit of yes and no questions with it. So should we keep should we be at arm's length with people who are better than us or smarter than us? No. Should we keep should we be at arm's length from carbs if you are planning to reduce weight, or if you are trying to reduce weight? Should you be at arm's length from consumption of carbs? Yes, you need to maintain your distance. You need to have smaller meals or portions which have less carbs. Right. Next question. We need to cut down on our expenses so that we are able to. Jayaditi correct, you correct, Krishna right, Shreya perfect, Devansha Rashita correct, Namika correct, another Siddharth right, Penny correct, finally Penny answered and so did Arjun, very good, that's right. So we need to cut down on our expenses. Cut down means to reduce, Medha correct. So we need to reduce our expenses so that we are able to make ends meet. So when you are able to make ends meet, that means you're just trying to ensure that your needs are fulfilled and your survival is ensured. So that is you're earning only that much that will help you to just survive and spend on your basic needs. Next question. Our team has won every single match that they have played since January. They seem to be. Namika correct. Medha again. No. Ruthvi, think about it again. Ruthvi, how can answer be B, beta? I am winning every match because I'm rolling in money. That sounds about illogical. No, just because I have money, I'll perform well in the match. Not possible. Now, it can be confused between, of course, we can eliminate option B and D because roller coaster means altogether a different thing. Roller coaster, on the other hand, means that when you go through ups and downs, correct? So, for example, I'm not going to bet on this team because their performance is, always on a roller coaster ride. So that means that you're never sure that which way it's going to go. Now, A and C can be a bit confusing. Why it can be confusing? Because, of course, we say rolling in, but not rolling in luck. You are always rolling in. What is the correct idiom? Instead of luck, what should come? A person is rolling in. So you roll in money. So when you earn a lot of money, then you're rolling in money, which is not what we want here. What we want is on a roll. So when you are on a roll, that means that you are giving excellent performance one after the other. So when you're on the roll, that means you are in form and you're doing a great job. So correct answer is that. Next question. A portion of the house collapsed because the contractor dash and built it with very poor quality material. Siddharth, Harshita, you correct. Manas correct. Ali correct. Guys, you're seeing the full screen mode only, right? I hope. Perfect. Penny, no. Think about it again. Nirmit, correct. So the correct answer is, so the portion of the house is collapsing because I used a poor quality material. So if I have used the poor quality material when I should have not, then the correct answer will be cut the corner. So cut the corner means doing a job, but not doing it effectively or efficiently, or not doing it up to the mark as per the standard, right? Can you tell me the meaning of bite the bullet? What is the meaning of biting the bullet? So when you bite the bullet, that's like doing a, no, while that we avoid, bite the bullet is to do a hard work or difficult task which others were not even interested in doing. So you are the one who bit the bullet, right? Okay. Question number 13. Choose the alternative so the underlined part of the sentence is rendered correct. Yes, 1 minute for this question, not more than that. Yeah, correct. Fanny, correct. Krishna, think about it again. Okay. If you notice all these options, right? Option A has this word being, option B has being, option C has being. We don't have any being here. First of all, can you tell me the purpose of being? I'll give you a hint. I'll write a sentence. I am honest and I am being honest. What is the difference between these two sentences? What is the difference between the two? I'm honest and I'm being honest. You can unmute and speak, or you can explain it in the chat box. So which sentence suggests second sentence means you're trying to be? Correct. So second and first is the fact, and the second one is you're trying to convince her. And being honest is for present tense. Very good, Jayaditya. So technically, what we need to understand here is that whenever you use being is basically, see, if I say what is the permanent nature, so if you're talking about my permanent nature, if I have to describe myself, so this is my permanent nature, so I'm saying I'm honest. So that means I'm an honest person naturally. But when I say I'm being honest, that means that I may not be honest every time, but I'm being honest. That means at least this time, present continuous, at this moment, what I'm telling you is the truth. Is the difference clear? So now you tell me, if somebody is a junior member of the House of Representative, he's being a junior member at this moment, or he is, like he will be, or he is for the next 5 years? What do you think? So we are talking about his rank. So he's being an IPS officer, or he is the IPS officer? So which one sounds right grammatically also, right? So yes, because we are talking about his position that he already holds, and he's going to hold it for for some coming years because he's the member of a House of Representatives. So the correct answer to this question will be option D. And just a small cheat here, should not be sharing, but if you come across these questions and if you have been, so here this is the worst kind of example with being, because all the three options had it. But in case, let's say that you come across a question where, two options are being and two don't, then of course there'll be a challenge. But otherwise, we generally avoid being sentences unless we want the present continuous connotation. Is that clear? So if you come across being, see if you don't need the present continuous thing, simply eliminate it, move on to the rest of the options. Are we all clear with this? Okay, let's look at the next question. Although the coastal city of Kundapur was once home to flourishing maritime trade, their economy has been dependent in more recent years on the cotton, textile, and sugar industries. Yes. What do you think about this one? Meda, no. What about others? Hitansh, correct. Ali, no. Devansh, correct. Hani, correct. Prithvi, correct. Harshita, right. Now, when we have similar options, right? For example, if I look at option A, B, C, and D, identify what are the differences. So if I look at it, its economy, the economy, and their economy. First of all, what is my subject? We are talking about coastal cities, or we are talking about a particular city. So let's say I'm talking about Jaipur, and I will say there is a beautiful city. There is a beautiful city. Or I'll say it is a beautiful city. Which one will I use? If I'm talking about Jaipur or Lucknow or Bombay or Delhi, whatever, I will be using it. So, number one, whenever there's a grammar question, if there are 10 grammar questions, make it a point, learn this by heart, that out of those 10 questions, your 6 questions, your errors will be either in verb or in pronoun. So the one thing that you definitely need to check, like this question should have been 5 seconds for you guys. सबसे पहले pronoun check करेंगे. So here I see there, while I'm talking about one city, so there is definitely wrong. So option D is wrong. Now comes to यहाँ पे there है नहीं. So let's hold it for a moment. This hits and this hits. Now what is the difference? First blank, which one I want? I want this one or I want this one? I'm talking about the first blank. What do I want here? Krishna, correct. I want answer from everyone for this particular question. For the first blank, what do I want? I want option A or option B? Hitansh, correct. Jadit, correct. Sneha, correct. Kathan, correct. Anamika, correct. Manan. Manan and Shreya have problem. Now, Manan and Shreya, let's understand this. So, whenever we write it's, it is a contraction of it is. For example, if I have to write I am, how do we write it? In short, we write I am, correct? So in short, if I have to say, what did I want to say? I wanted to say, it's a box of chocolate. So this is basically a shorter version of it is. Are we clear? And its price, second blank will take its price is $1,000. So here I want its price. Chocolates, sorry, box and box ka price. So it is a possessive case. It's a possessive case here. So now we are talking about the city. It was once a flourishing maritime trade, but it is economy. Do I want to read it is economy? Or do I want to say its economy? City ki economy. Which one I want? Now, can you tell me? Sneha, is it clear now? Who else marked? Shreya, Manan, are we clear with the concept? And this is very frequently asked, guys. You cannot go wrong in this one at this juncture. Okay. Let's go to the next question. So the correct answer to this question is option B. Next question. Look for the differences in options. Compare your options and see what are the differences. Can you spot the differences in the options? What are the differences like? That will help me to decide. So one difference is fewer people or less people. Okay. Die every year from, die every year from, die every year from. So always do the vertical reading, right? Fewer people die from infectious diseases. Okay, every year, bhara, that's fine. Than ever before, than ever before, than ever before, and than ever before. So two things I need to decide whether I want fewer or less, and I want this THEN or THAN. Yes. So now you tell me. We talk about less people or fewer people. What is the better phrase? We definitely want fewer because fewer is countable and I can count the number of people literally. Had it been water, then fewer water or less water? Then it would have been less water because water is uncountable. So we have, because it is fewer, I can eliminate option B. Now tell me, we want in comparison to last year, so what if I'm comparing, I want THAN or I want THEN? What do I want? So this then is about time. If you're coming to the meeting, I'll see you then. So I'll see you then. I'm talking with reference to time, right? But our sales have increased than the last year. So if I'm comparing, I use THAN in comparison. Now, so because of this, then option A is eliminated. Because of less, B is eliminated. I'm left with C and D. Now the placement of every year. Now you tell me which one is the better choice. And also C and D, please, just one more difference. Here it says than ever before, than have ever before. What do I want? Fewer people die every year from infectious disease than ever before, or every year fewer people die from infectious disease than have ever before. Jayaditya, correct answer to this question will be option not C. It's option D. Very, very close. Now let's understand. So what they're saying is because of the progress, every year, the number of people go on reducing. And it go on reducing with respect to what? With respect to last year also, no? They're not saying in the past. They are saying every year they go on reducing. So that means that if we are in 2023, the comparison is with 2022. If I go in 2024, the comparison will be with 2023, right? So that means then have ever before. So we are comparing it in the present too. Hence option D. Are we clear with this? Any doubts, anyone? Because if I say than ever before, then we are talking about it in the past. Yes, Siddharth, that's fine. Because of this have ever before, this is fine. Because we are what we mean is on year basis. Next question. So this is para completion question. Take your time. Now, before you start reading, just one hint that I want to give you. Krishna, don't rush like that. Now, when you're reading a para completion question, let's quickly look at, what exactly we need to look at extremely carefully. So number one, of course, reading the entire paragraph is important. But what is most crucial is the line or the sentence before the blank. So that means when I'm answering this question, this overall story needs to play in my mind. But the extremely crucial line that should play in my mind is this particular last line. So anything that is before that blank, or let's say if there was a blank in the middle, then the line before it and the sentence before it and the sentence after it. So this part becomes Very, very crucial. Now you read it overall and then make sure that this is in sync with this particular line. Now take a look and give me the answer. No, Jayaditya. Only you got it right. One more person. Who is this? Siddharth also got it right. Shreya correct. Manas correct. Pay attention to the last sentence also. Extremely careful. So what is the entire story like? The entire story is that the captive breeding has helped revive wildlife such as Eurasian beaver, cheetah, and the Arabian onyx. Several species have been reintroduced into the location in order that the ecological balance is restored. When herbivorous bandicoots were set free in the wild, they dug in the ground and redistributed dry leaves, reducing the chances of bushfire. But some predators may overhunt or threaten other vulnerable species. So, what they are talking is the theme of the entire paragraph is we are talking about the revival. Now, these species or these animals were revived, correct? And several other species have also been reintroduced into the locations in their respective locations to restore the ecological balances, correct? There is one more example of bandicoots, right? That how when they were reintroduced, they redistributed the dry leaves and reduced the chance of bushfire. So that means that revival of ecological balance will bring us good. Like in the example of bandicoots, that they reduce the chance of bushfire for us. Now comes the actual line, which is extremely careful. Contrast. But some predators may overhunt or threaten other vulnerable species. So when I'm being reintroduced, I'm a vulnerable species, right? So what they're saying is, but some predators may overhunt or threaten them. So that means that if somebody is putting me in that environment and I'm an endangered species and I'm being introduced and I have a risk of predators. Now think about it further. So I'm an endangered species who has been reintroduced, but I have a risk from the predator. Now what? Now look at your option A. Hence, wildlife conservationists should revive more of herbivorous animals and enrich the ecosystem. But isn't it logically incorrect? Because if I'm reviving just the herbivorous animals, then that means that ecological system will anyways be damaged, no? Because the ecological system also naturally has carnivorous also. So what you're saying is that selectively I should focus on herbivorous animal as a wildlife conservationist. So this can't be true because that dissolves the purpose of restoring the balance. Now what? Waiting for your answers. Correct answer to this question is option C. The revival of the ecosystem does because the predators may overhunt. Therefore, the revival depends on the eating habits of the animals introduced therein. Correct answer to this question will be option C. So the revival totally depends on the eating habits of the animals there. Next question. So now in this one, this blank is in between. So the following sentence and the sentence prior to it is of extreme importance. Read it and decide what should be the answer. Postponed from last year, the Tokyo Olympics are set to begin this year. The locals are wary. What do we mean by wary? Wary means to be careful, cautious, yes. So it was postponed. Now it is being conducted this year, and the locals are cautious. The athletes are anxious. The training sessions are truncated. Truncated is that they're short and the restrictions are extensive. So overall, what they're talking about is somewhat negative. Contrast. Yet, Japan in many ways is seen as safe choice because of its past experience of hosting big events. It has an impeccable reputation for discipline and the ability to deliver the goods. So I have a contrast, but the contrast is after the blank. So till here, it was all negative. Locals are cautious, athletes are conscious, training sessions are short, restrictions are extensive. Now go ahead. Look at the options. A doesn't make any sense because A is repeating the idea. Yatharth, I cannot mark C as the correct answer because see the contrast starts from here, right? So far till here they were talking all about the negative part of it. And then the contrast begins after the blank. So my blank also has to have some negative to it, correct? Because my contrast is starting after it. While if I mark C, International Olympic Committee has full support, it has a positive connotation to it, which I cannot do. So the correct answer to this question is option B. So the Japan is going through a option D is also eliminated, economic recession, and could run out of funds because economic recession has nothing to do with the Tokyo Olympics and why people are anxious. And even if let's say, okay, if there's economic recession, people can be anxious. But why are athletes anxious? Why is training session short? So the correct explanation to this will be option B, that the shadow of the pandemic looms large over the Tokyo Olympics. Next question. It's a fill in the blank question, guys. Now, fill in the blank questions before we start. Just a couple of pointers. Number one second. Number one, what I want you guys to do is, of course, read the entire sentence or couple of sentences, whatever it is, read it in entirety. Number two, try to fill the blank with a layman word. So don't look at the options. Try to fill the blank with your own word that I feel this should fit here. First step is to read it on its own so you get the gist of it. Once you have got the gist of it, try to fill the blank with a layman word. Let's say if you're not getting the answer or if you're not getting a simple word for blank A, it's not compulsory that I have to attempt blank A first and then blank 2 and then blank 3. You don't have to go in order. Look for an option, look for an easy entry that which blank, through which blank I can easily enter into the sentence. Once you're done that, then you try to eliminate some options. So let's say for second blank, I get the word, let's say I think that, it should be genuine here. That genuine is the right fit here. So I will look at second option and I'll see that, which one is closest to genuine. If this is not, I can clearly eliminate it. Go ahead and try it. Anamika, correct. Sneha, correct. Krishna, correct. Nirmit, correct. Manas, Sneha, very nice, guys. One second. You correct. Yatharth, no, think about it. When we think about listening, we tend to assume that it is basically the same thing as hearing. This is a dash because it leads us to believe that effective listening is dash. As a result, we make little effort to. Now, a very important lesson here. If I say that I make little effort to do something, and this will come very handy in reading comprehension also. So when I say that I have made little effort to do something, that means I have made no effort or I have made some effort. It is equivalent to option A or option B. Itan says it is B. So these are small, areas which we need to fine tune at this level. So what is the difference? Let's understand what is the difference in little, little and the little, because they can change the entire meaning. So little is equivalent of no in English, correct? A little is equivalent of some. For example, if you're, let's say, sitting in a restaurant and you feel that somewhat, the salt is less in your food. So what will you say? Give me little salt, or give me a little salt. This is something relatable. That's why I'm saying. What will you ask for? Give me little water. Give me a little water. Or give me a little salt. Or let's say, you're buying time for something. So ma'am, allow me little time to finish my work, or allow me a little more time to finish my work. What will you say? A little. So a little is some, little is no. Now you read the sentence. As a result, we make little effort. That is equivalent of no. So we make no effort to learn or develop listening skills, and thereby. So if I'm spending no time to learn or to develop my listening skills, and therefore what will happen? Forget communication function, ignore it, reject it, or neglect it. What should be the right word here? I've spent no time to learn something or to develop something, and thereby, correct. So the correct answer will be neglect. So this is your first takeaway. The same thing applies to few and a few also, guys. If I am an introvert, I will have few friends, or I'll have a few friends. What should be the correct answer? If I'm an introvert, I have few friends or a few friends. What should be the correct answer? Few is then some, no? And if I'm a hardcore, introvert, then I will have almost no friends. So I'll have few friends. I'm new to the town, therefore I know few people or a few people. I am new to this town, so I know few people. That is almost equivalent of no. So this is your first lesson from this particular question. Number 2, whenever you see this semicolon sign, and this is extremely important in the fill in the blank part. So this semicolon, colon, or dash, these three have to be treated as equals to in English. Correct? For example, if I put a equal to here, forget about this. Now you read it. When we think about listening, we tend to assume that it is basically the same thing as hearing. This is an entire sentence, very simple language, I understand it. This is a dash because it leads us to believe. So now what do you think should come here? So we think listening and hearing are the same thing. Now there's an equation. This is a blunder, fallacy, mistake, or misconception. So the correct answer here is going to be, it's a misconception, right? Because it leads us to believe that the effective listening is instinctive. So here in second blank, I could have filled instinctive, we could have filled natural, but I cannot fill the word reject here. So the correct answer to this question will be option D. Let's go to the next question. Question number 19. Krishna, Manas, correct. Ali, correct. It's a super easy question. The entry point could be blank 2. Event management professionals, experts, practitioners, or masters. So event management, we don't say practitioners, that's mostly medical practitioners, not masters. Experts, you can know, it should be professionals. So the correct answer to this question should be option A. Let's read it one more time. As the vaccination rates rise and the government relax their pandemic systems, the recovery of event ecosystem is happening faster than expected. Regulations. Event management. Professionals see the number of events and event attendance reaching potentially surpassing pre-pandemic levels. So surpassing is it is going beyond. Correct. Take a look at the next question. This dash and dash man was actually the dash manager company ever had. Krishna, correct? Now, first of all, should these two blanks be in the similar tone? Should these both be positive or both be negative? It can be both positive or it can be both negative, but it can't be one positive and one negative, right? So the correct answer to this question is this assiduous analytical man was actually the best manager the company ever had. So assiduous is fine. Ludicrous is synonym of ridiculous. If the person was ridiculous, he cannot be the most able manager. So actually, all these three sentences have to be in the same tone, or either all positives or all negatives. Correct? Now, if I look at option C, even option C is all positive. But the problem with option C is the person is well-groomed, fine. The person is confident or assertive, fine. So if a person is well-groomed, so if I dress appropriately, and if I'm confident, that will make me a compassionate, that will make me a kind person. So these two combined do not produce a compassionate manager. While a hardworking and an analytical manager will definitely produce a best manager, because when you're working in a company, you are expected to be hardworking, and you're running a business, you're expected to be analytical. Hence, the best word is justified here. Okay, let's take a look at the next question. Question number 21. You correct. Pitansh Krishna correct. Ali correct. So I think that the easiest blank here is blank T. To the employee's achievement in the same manner, to promote his achievement, to realize his achievement, to recognize his achievements, or to advertise his achievements. So if we look at it, we do not promote somebody's achievement or realize them. We recognize their achievements. Let's see if this fits right, the other options. The best strategy to give an appraisal is to deliver it orally as well as in writing. So orally, in fact, the second one was also right, orally and in writing. So the correct answer, very easy, is option C. Question number 22. Some options are pretty close in here. Take a look. Siddharth, correct. Yeah, Aditya, no. Yes, it's something avoidable. Can you help with vending? Correct. So the Ravli range is the oldest existing geological feature, okay, in anywhere in the world. So existing, prevailing, and surviving, continuing, all these fit here. So let's keep it. There were once tall mountains, possibly as high as the Himalayas. Over hundreds of millions of years, these tall mountains have been, so they have been reduced to low hills is fine. They have been destroyed to low hills is not. So option B is out. Option C, eroded to low hills. Fine. So reduced and eroded works, broken down also works. Now, yet these diminutive hills, diminutive means something which is small in size. Hills have been dashed to many important events in Indian history. So here also, option B is out. Though testament works here, but destroyed did not work here. So option B is eliminated. Similarly, sentinel is not the appropriate word here. The correct word is, yet these small hills have been witness to many important events in the Indian history. So it's because of this word that we are eliminating it. Are we clear, Manas? Yes, Siddharth. Specifically used for a person. So correct answer to this. So person is a person who has seen a lot, like a kind of a witness, but not the, because we're talking about the mountain, therefore we cannot use this term here. Is it clear, Sneha? Next question. So one of the statements below contain a word used incorrectly. Choose the option which has an incorrect or inappropriate usage of words. First of all, let's find out the common word here. Which one is a common word in all the options? So the common words which I see is climatic, this is climatic, this is climactic, and this is climactic. So yes, this is commonly confused word. So they've used both of them. So climatic and climactic, what is the difference? Which one is related to climate, A or B? Forget about the question right now. Which one is related to climate? So if I'm talking about climate and if I have to use the adjective form of it, I use climatic, right? And what is climactic then? Climactic is the adjective form of climax, like in the movies, correct? So climactic is the adjective form of climax. So here the climactic scene works fine for me. Some some plants adapt themselves to a variety of climatic conditions fine. Naturally, the fauna of the region varies in the climatic changes fine. The climatic changes is wrong. We are not talking about the climax, movie wala climax here. We are talking about the season and weather and climate. So correct answer is option D. That's correct. Look at the next question. You will have similar commonly confused words here. What are the two words which you think are very close to here and which have been used here? Quickly identify. So the first word is luxurious. And what is the other word? The confused word is the rooms were adorned with luxuriant. Now, I don't want you to look at the question right now. What is the difference between these two? Luxurious and luxuriant. So luxurious is to do with the quality, right? The interiors were luxurious. So that means of, rich quality, of nice quality. While luxuriant means abundant. So for example, yesterday, our city had luxurious rainfall or luxuriant rainfall. Yesterday, our city witnessed or our city experienced luxurious rainfall or luxuriant rainfall. So when it comes to numbers, then I need to use luxuriant because we are talking about quantity here. Now that you understand, now look at the meaning and what should be the correct answer then. Siddharth, correct? You're correct. Krishna, think about it again. Jayaditya, think about it again. What do we mean by tresses, by the way? What are tresses? What is the meaning of tresses? Tresses means hair. So what will you use? You'll use luxurious hair or luxuriant hair? Because if you are talking about hair, so then hair are countable, right? We are talking about the number here. So this one is fine. Luxuriant golden tresses. The one that is not fine is the room was adorned with, it was decorated with many trimmings of gold or luxurious trimming of gold. What we actually want is luxurious trimmings of gold and not luxuriant. Luxuriant is many in number. So correct answer is option B to this question. Next question. Commonly confused words. Which are the commonly confused words given in here? That's right, you. The commonly confused words are intense and intensive. That's right. Now take a look. Hitansh, correct? That's the right answer, Hitansh. You correct? Siddharth, Devansh, correct? Loathing means hatred. Loathing means hatred. So the subject's hatred for the cruel emperor was intense. So I have intense hatred. That's fine. Without intensive study, so intensive is study in great depth. The intense debate is again serious debate. The one which is not correct is intensive. We were in intense pressure. Intense means a lot of pressure. We do not want intensive here. So correct answer to this question is option A. Next question. Commonly confused words. So commonly confused words here are appraise and apprise. Can you tell me the difference between the two? For example, I'm completing a year with the company and my appraisal is due or my appraisal is due. Which one do I want? I'm completing a year with the company, so my appraisal, option B or option A. So my appraisal is due. So appraisal means to evaluate. So they will evaluate my performance. If I have performed well, they will promote me or maybe, give me an increment or something like that. And what do we mean by apprise? What is the meaning of apprise? Apprise means to, very good, you. Apprise is to inform. Apprise is to inform. Correct. If you're not coming to work, you need to apprise your reporting manager. Now, take a look at it. Which one is the incorrect one? Devansh, correct. Beta, appraise is to evaluate. So you will call a mechanic to evaluate the car, right? That's right. If I'm buying a, let's say, second-hand car, I will definitely want to get it evaluated. The principal called a meeting to inform the school's governing board. At the end of each practice session, the teacher trainers are expected to appraise, that is to evaluate their own performance. The one that is not correct is here. The soldiers return to the camp to appraise. Appraise is to evaluate. So the soldiers will evaluate the commanding officer. So option D is incorrect. Here it should be the soldiers returned to the camp to apprise the manager, apprise the commanding officer, that is to inform him. So correct answer is option D. And the last one, commonly confused words. Commonly confused words are lighting, lightning, and lightning with E. So there's lighting, lightning, and lightning. There are three here. So the first one, the young girl said, I now request our chief guest to come forward for the lighting of the lamp. So lighting is to put on the fire. So that is lighting. Lightning, on the other hand, is thunder wala lightning, which is a natural phenomenon. Here the person is lighting the lamp. Here it is the lightning, thunder wala lightning. And C is the answer where it is inappropriately used, because I believe that skin lightening. So skin should have that natural effect. No, we are talking about lightening, reducing. So D, it is correct. C should also have been lightening, to lighten, to reduce the heavy load and to reduce the side effects. So that is what we wanted. So one is lighting of the lamp, one is lightening, the natural phenomenon, and one is lightening with E, this spelling. So skin lightening, we use this one. Therefore, this one is incorrect. Okay. Last three questions, they are parajumble theta questions. If you could quickly go ahead and try attempting these. Have a look. You correct? Man is correct. So a couple of entry points in this question would be in the past, today, modern also symbolizes today or gives you a hint that we're talking about present. So that's one thing. Another thing is however is being used. So however, just like yet and but show contrast. So modern trade, however, demands more from the companies. So because it is a contrast, I need to show contrast. So I'll have to show the contrast with the past, right? So Devansh, I'll start with D. To succeed in today's global marketplace, it is essential to learn as much as possible about the conditions in the overseas market. In the past, companies, because companies are here also and the company is here also. So in the past, companies with the international aspiration simply familiarize themselves with any difference in the legal system or in the procedures used in day-to-day business of import and export. Modern trade, however, because I have to show the contrast in the past and the modern trade, demands more from the companies. So one common link is I have companies here, and companies here, and this did not have anything related to companies. So this is a generic statement, hence will become my opening. Modern trade, however, demands more. This more is justified by this word or term called also. Today, the company seeking international success must also learn. So you need to have the legal knowledge, but you also need to understand this, and this is justified by more. Hence, my correct answer is D, A, B, C. Take a look. If there's any doubt, please ask me. Are we all clear? See. Let's go to the next question. Why can't we start with A? How will you place, Aditya, how will we place D then? Where will you place it? What should be the arrangement according to you? And also I give you the explanation, no? A, B, C, all three are talking about companies, correct? D, on the other hand, is not talking about the company. It is talking about how the global marketplace generally is. So either I'll have to put it in the beginning or I have to put it in the end. So how do I place option B, right? Okay. Next question. So in this question, what do you think? This is a bit tricky here. Somewhat, not much. I'll rate it as moderate. Not a correct answer yet. What is this it referring to in sentence A? So it is a singular pronoun. It's a singular pronoun. And this it is referring to some noun. Can you tell me which noun is it referring to and which sentence this noun has? Yes, it is talking about, very good, you. It is talking about this article. So it says, should celebs always have a take? Asks an article in the magazine. It mentions a video. So the magazine and the article in the magazine mentions a video on TikTok that questioned an influencer's possible views on the Israel-Palestine. Questioned. Where is the question mark in the sentence, in the options? I mean, the statements? D. So it questioned the influencer's possible views. Now, because there's a question and somebody wrote that article, therefore they are in double quotes. Please be extremely careful when you are reading all of this. Do you guys even care about the issue, or do you care about influencers caring about the issue? Now, after this comes the conclusion. Social media has given us the expectation that every video, every tweet needs to be irreproachable and encompass the lived experience of the audience. So it comes together as a conclusion. So B should go in the end. Hence, the correct answer to this question should be CADB. Are we clear with this? So they take an example. Something was written in the magazine. Now the question influencers possible views. Option D, sentence D tells you what the question was, and then the conclusion that social media in general has given us the expectation that every video should have it. Sorry, and the last question. This is the last question for the day. Super easy question, kind of a no-brainer. Everyone should get this one right. You're correct. Ravi, correct. Hitansh, no. Think about it once again. Sneha, correct. Namika, correct. So a lot of ways to enter this question. They are saying the cub. That means I'm using article the, which means that this cub must have been mentioned somewhere else also. And when you talk about any subject for the first time, for example, let's say if I'm telling you that, today I'm going for, so I'll not say I'm going for the movie. That's not what I'm going to say. I'm going to say I'm going for a movie. So whenever you mention something for the first time, it has to be a. Now, if let's say I meet you tomorrow, then I'll say, oh, the movie was really intriguing. Correct? So they are saying the cup, that means there has to be some mention of the cup somewhere else. Where is that cup mentioned? In the recent incident, villagers in the tea estate were shocked to find a leopard cub in the trench. Correct? So one thing is for sure that B will come after A. I'm not saying right after A, but it has to come after A because of this logic. A cub and the cub. Now, and it's a recent incident. The 12,500 leopards, now it was a cub and now it is all leopards. So somewhat sounds generic. The 12,500 leopards in India stray into villages due to their shrinking habitat. So this is a general practice that because they do not have a habitat, so they stray into the villages. In a recent incident, so one such incident, villagers were shocked to find the leopard. The wildlife vet, so vet is a veterinarian, a doctor, wildlife vet examined and declared this cub to be uninjured but dehydrated. The cub was then sequenced. So it was taken to the doctor, it was dehydrated. The cub was then taken to the area where she was discovered and reunited with her mother. So the correct sequence to this question will be starting with generic C, followed by A, followed by checkup with the doctor, and then it was re-released. It's a theta question, Anamika. Yes, it will have. It's a theta question. We don't have a box here in the PPT, but it's actually parasymbols are the theta questions. Your short answer questions are only in the quantitative section and they do not have negative marking, but these questions do. Right? Okay, guys. So the next thing that I really want you guys to inform is, so we have done, two previous year questions together. We are going to do one more. But please take a look at your past year papers and in the last few days, do solve all your mocks. And then you must have gotten your IPM special sheets. If you have a problem in vocabulary, you have a vocabulary builder book. So if you are facing some trouble there, make sure that you're solving that vocabulary builder book. You can do that, cover it up. And of course, the concept book, if you feel that, some concepts, for example, today I saw that, the concept like this small, little and little one, and a couple of more concepts that we discussed. So if you feel that, you are still lacking or somewhere there's a, gap in these concepts, you have concept book exercises plus the concept videos also in my IMS. Sure, Jayadit, I'll just share it with you, right? And other exam mocks also. Please identify which areas are your challenges. These are the concepts that you need to cover. So if you feel that there's a specific challenge, then, make sure that you are watching the concept videos. Go on your MyIMS section. There is a learn video present there. You can watch that. You have recorded sessions to watch those also. Right? Any questions now? Yes, do we have any questions? Which is correct to use, not to or to not? Ravi, that depends on the sentence. If you could give me a sentence, I'll be in a better position to comment on this. Is it what you're trying to understand, that I told you not to do it or I told you to not do it? Manas, one thing that you guys can do is can you, for example, identify and are you clear, for example, even after today's mock, that which questions were you, comfortable with? So number one thing is that I know that RCs are going to come, right? Come what may, there's going to be a RC. So one thing that I'm short of is reading comprehension. So I need to make that area as my strength, because I know that 7 questions, 6 questions are going to be there no matter what. So that one area should be a definite, my ace area. That's one thing. Ravi, it will be hard to tell that way. Let's do one thing. Let's meet next time and I'll work on it and I'll get back to you. Because without a reference sentence, even I won't be able to, clarify it to you. So next time we meet, I'll definitely clear it out for you. Sure. So similarly, parajumble questions. Now see guys, parajumble questions, since they are theta questions, and as I told you, like especially in your grammar questions, you do get grammar questions, and grammar questions, majority of the times, as I told you, is errors are in verb and pronoun. For example, one second, let me share the white screen with you and we'll do some exercises. For example, One second. So if I ask you to identify the correct or incorrect sentence, so let's say the river, you guys can see the white screen, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, can you tell me which is the verb here? What is the verb here? Which word is the verb? Identify the correct verb. The river had. Can you identify the verb for me? River is a verb. Yeah, river is a noun. Verb is the action, beta. So the river had flown. River had flown is the verb. Now tell me, which word do we use for river? River flows, yes or no? If I use it in present tense, we say flows. So verb has three forms, V1, V2, and V3. V1 is the present form of verb. V2 is the past form of verb. And V3 is the past participle form. To simply put it, something I can explain it. Part participle is something that we use with has, have, or had. Let's take a general example. So if I say write in the present form, what is the past form of write? Everyone knows this. Tell me, what is the past form of write? Past form of write is wrote. Guys, you're able to see the screen, no? Whiteboard. Kathan? Anika? Can you see the whiteboard? Okay. So write, wrote. Now, if I say that I have, or she had, or he has, then which form of verb will I write will I use? Write, wrote. She has written. Correct? So the river flows. Present, past form of flow. No, Sneha. So that's where we get stuck. Fly, past form is flew, and V3 is flown. So the sentence gave us flown, which is wrong because we have to use V3 of flow here because we are saying the river had. So the river had, past form of flow is flowed, and V3 is also flowed. So the river had not flown, the river had flowed. Is it clear? So this is one thing that you can see. So you can check the forms of verb. You can take a look at forms of verb. So forms of verb are V2, V3 are the forms. For example, sing. What is the V2 and V3 of sing? Go ahead, tell me. Sing, past form is? Past form is sang, and V3 is sung. So brush up these small things because grammar questions, these are the areas where they're going to check you. Now there's one more request from, I guess, who asked it? Jaya Aditya. Are you there in the class? Yes. Jaya Aditya asked me to explain the usage of past perfect tense. Sure, Jaya Aditya. So let's go. 1 second, my pen tab. So, Jaya Aditya, when we talk about past perfect, let's understand how do we write it first. So if I look at the syntax, how do I write it? So we take subject plus had plus, since it is had, we use V3 form plus object. Now, most of the time, this very important keyword before appears in this sentence. If not before, then maybe after will appear. But before, most of the times is there. And then it is again subject plus V2. Now the usage. So we use past perfect. This is past perfect. Now we use past perfect tense when we are talking about, sequencing two actions of the past. When we want to sequence two actions of the past. For example, Jayaditya, in a natural course, right? For everyone, most of the times, what happens? A person finishes the schooling first or he joins the college first. Which action got completed? I'll finish my schooling. That's my first action. And it has to happen in the sequence. Is it possible that I can do my schooling in college at the same time? In a natural course, that's not possible, correct? So how will I write it? So I will write, I had, because my first action that is getting over is the schooling part. So I had finished my schooling. I had finished my school before, and the second one will go in simple past tense, before I joined college. Is it clear? I'll give you a
Yes,
couple of
ma'am.
sentences. So, what should be the correct version? India is this correct? Is this the correct sentence?
No, ma'am.
So what should be the correct version? What happened first? Which of the two happened first? India had gotten independent because that's what happened first. So this one will go with had, because this is the first action of the two sequentially before MG was shot. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. Right. Is there anything else you want me to talk about? Okay, guys, then I'll see you around. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, madam.